Okay, I think I'll finish the month of May and May of '78 and call group this all together in one section, calling it May of '78. I think that's how I think that's how I'll do it. May 27th, 1978. Before breakfast, I planted more of the garden. This far, I don't I've planted to the north end, the right end, moving north to south. 4 rows of corn, 5 rows of peas, 4 rows of dad's beans, a row of marigolds. To the left or south, moving from south to north, I planted 4 rows of lettuce, sprinkled with radishes, and 3 rows of beets. I will encircle the garden with marigolds. I remember this garden. This was quite a garden, and we grew up gardening. It is now after 10 p.m. I have pref I have prepared my priesthood lesson. I do look forward to Sunday. I suppose this will be just another evening. I do try to discipline myself to read German and generally read for pleasure. Judy gets very upset at this time of year, wondering about how we'll make ends meet, how we'll stay solvent. Little does she know how difficult it is for me, but nevertheless, I may work for Willie's Express in Manchester for $9.73 an hour wages. We will see. Good night. May 28th, 1978. Sunday is always a very special day. I feel sorry for the people who do not realize a difference between the Sabbath and the other 6 days. My priesthood lesson today was on obedience and sacrifice. The two are not separate. Two of the scriptural references I used are Doctrine and Covenants, section 64, 33, 34, and Matthew 26. Today has been a very warm day. Our home is not as cool as our former home on Highland Street. The Red Sox won the first game and we're ahead 4-3 in the seventh inning. Someone reading this years from now would think I was a Red Sox fan. Actually, if Atlanta were chosen, I would be a Braves fan. I always did follow the Braves. Heard a pretty good sermon on the way to church today. Anger. It is like a grain of sand in the mechanism of a watch. There is much more, but this will suffice. Baby Killdeer and Aunt Killdeer were in our yard this baby Killdeer. I don't know what that means. We had to restrain Toto. Okay, I guess there were deer in the yard. Toto was our dog. I'm not looking forward to going back to school tomorrow. What I thought would be a Guilford spirit, quote, close quote, when I first began teaching at Guilford has never really materialized. I think I would like to move. Judy says Nancy and I are a lot alike. Mother looks wonderful. I am very proud of my parents. I think I'll end this evening. Good night. Daily Log, May 29th, 1978. I worked the field of events at the track meet today. Donald has improved. If he would train more, he could become quite good. I'm not quite sure what he was talking about. I think it has to do with baseball. We had a picnic today with the Tenyas? Tenjas. Tenyas, Charles, Stevensons, and Gibbs. It was my first swim of the season. Wow. Cold. Laconia won Class 1 track meet Saturday. Don Stevenson is quite happy. He and Paul Phelps have worked hard. And we talked some German stuff. Didn't make any sense. Daily Log, May 30th, 1978. Today is Decoration Day, commonly called Memorial Day. Years ago, when Aunt Ella was a child, it was called Decoration Day. I like to revive pleasant memories of old, even though the remembering may be sad. I played in the two parades today, one in Concord and the other in Manchester. Congressman Cleveland spoke in Concord. Former President Nixon hosted a party for hundreds of former POWs. Ronald Reagan was in attendance too. Richard Nixon is respected and loved by the former POWs. He was instrumental in gaining their release from North Vietnam. President Carter's national security advisor said that Cuban troops were involved in the invasion of Zaire. Do we now say to the aggressor, no, you can't do that? Congressman Cleveland spoke of beating swords into plowshares, but will aggressive nations allow this? Between parades today, I called Phil Coggin. He visited with me. It was great to see him. He is missed, a fine teacher. I'm going to mail the letters to Sandy Johnson and the Remington Company tomorrow. I'm going to ask Judy Kaiserman about scrubs and various plants that may be very attractive planted in the front of the house. I want to get some and plant them. I'll ask for her help. Mowing the yard and lawn in the heat of the day has taken a toll on me. I am sleepy. Good night. May 31st, 1978. We received much needed rain this evening. There was a real downpour in Manchester where I was rehearsing Elijah. Rene Gagnon and the two surviving men who raised the flag on Iwo Jima was fired yesterday from his job in Manchester. I know not the particulars. The raising of the flag was immortalized by Joe Rosenthal, who received a Pulitzer Prize for his photograph. Now, that's something I did not know, that this person was in New Hampshire affiliated with Dad. Dad knew him. Judy leaves for the temple tomorrow evening. We will miss her. I wish I could have positive feelings about next year. What's in store for me as far as teaching is concerned? If I could have my cake and eat it too, I want to sing, but it is not lucrative for me, and my teaching salary increase doesn't compare with the cost of living increases. Tomorrow is another day. Good night. That's the end of May. So here we go, and I'll start June probably tomorrow. See ya.